Megan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent, welcome. Episode 3 of our podcast. We don't have a name for it yet, but we will. We will. It's what usually happens. We'll do stuff and then worry about it later. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Loads to talk about. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. We want to know basically why CrossFit. Why did you start at CrossFit Silverbeard? What brought you here? What brought you to us?
Parents. Both my parents, my mum and my dad, both train and have done for many, many years. I've always been quite far away or just not keen. And then about a year ago, heard about Silverbeard opening, and I think I came to the first ever day of it with both of them in tow.
Very first workout, yeah.
Very first workout together, yeah. So sort of seen a lot of it, never thought I could do it. Going to a box that was going to be brand new and also had a lot of new people with it was sort of really encouraging to know that you weren't going to be the bottom. Everyone was going through the same experience and learning it all together. So that was always a big one for me, that actually going somewhere new meant that you didn't have to feel scared about where you were going. So
part of the attraction may have been that it was because it was new.
Yeah.
And there's no, I suppose, no inset group of people. No, those that have advanced, been doing it for like 5 or 6 years, that you're coming in, that everybody's relatively new. It's a new community. There's no clique.
Massively, yeah.
Yeah, good. So that's a good point.
Yeah, I'd done a few with mum previously. I did a few classes and I'd always gone into it and there'd been very little sort of, this is what you do, this is how you do it. It's sort of a case of, this is the workout, go. Right. And that was sort of like oh my goodness, I don't know half of these lifts, I don't know half what I'm doing. And that was always really off-putting for me. So actually coming in somewhere where I knew that everything was going to be brand new, we were going to be starting from afresh, from someone who had never done anything like CrossFit before, that was massive for me to know that actually it wasn't going to be you're sticking out like a sore thumb, all of us were going to be in that same position together sort of thing. That was massive.
Well, that's a good point. So we're talking about, I suppose, the standard of coaching there. Do you find that the coaching side of things is an important thing? Does that keep you attracted to it?
Massively. I think the fact that you have workouts that are planned for you, but also workouts that are planned around what you can and cannot do, is big. So I know that I can RX some things and I know completely that I'm nowhere near RXing them. So I think being able to look at those standards and look at where you can go within those standards is massive. To not go into a workout and think, oh, I'm going to have to do all of this and not know what I'm doing or not do it well, to actually stick to those standards and stick to what you can do and what you can do well, but also be coached throughout those workouts rather than just sort of doing it but doing it wrong. Yeah.
So I suppose it's, when we talk about scaling, where so often, we've mentioned that a couple of times beforehand, scaling for those workouts, abilities. And I know that you won't mind me saying this, that grip strength is one of your major things. Yeah. And I know that when there's something in there, you're like, right, I'm going to use the thin bar because of my little hands. And when it's grip strength stuff on the rig, you're kind of like, okay, so, you're limited by that. But I would say that there are obviously things within the movement standards and things like that you absolutely excel at. You are probably one of the strongest young people I know. I don't think that just comes from CrossFit, because there are who have other, another background within that. We will cover that as well. We're going to come into that, definitely. So joining CrossFit Silverbeard and becoming part of the community, how has that impacted on your life as a whole?
Massively. I'd say it's the only sport thing other than hockey that I've stuck at for my sort of like a long period of time. I'd done many sort of join up to a gym, do a couple of months, then stop. And I think massively that has helped me. There's so much more consistency within it. I'd also say now that I've probably got some of my closest friends who are within the community who I never even met before this, and now are sort of people who I speak to every single day. And they're the ones that you sort of notice. I mean, I know if I'm not in the box that actually someone's asking me where I am, someone's asking me if I'm okay, rather than just sort of they've not turned up to the gym today. It's so much more than just they've just not come in. It's actually like, what's the reason? Are you okay? Is everything all right? Which is so big when
so almost a by proxy accountability. If you don't turn up, people want to know where you are, right?
100%.
Not because they're like, well, I want to beat that person in a workout. They want to know where you are because they care about you. Brilliant. I mean, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, 100%.
We often talk about, caring and, and having to, we say it a lot, you got to give a shit.
Yeah, 100%.
And we do, we do really try to make sure that we care about the people that are in the community, and we try to make sure that you are getting what you want from fitness. So let's touch on the hockey side of things.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing hockey?
So I started when I was about 3 or 4, stopped starting high school and then started back up again, so many years. And I've sort of only been at 2 teams for my whole life, but have gone in various different positions, but again, that comes from mum played for many years and now still does, so it all came from sort of starting at actually something that she previously did, and I wanted to do the same thing. But that has sort of massively sculpted who I am and how I sort of speak to people and how I meet people, due to the confidence of doing it in an everyday sort of hockey game situation.
Do you find that the CrossFit, because hockey season's not in now, is it? What we in? No.
Winter.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's a winter thing. So, and I know that when you first started training with us, it was kind of like, well, I can't do it this day because I've got to do hockey. It was kind of one of those, you know, what days can I CrossFit and what days can I do hockey? Did you find that CrossFit helped you with your hockey?
Yeah. So
in any way?
I when I first moved teams locally, I was quite unfit, wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, was held back by my fitness level. And sort of within 2 to 3 months of starting CrossFit, I could easily see that actually staying up front, because I had that sort of skill level but couldn't do the fitness part of it, I could actually move into that midfield role that I should have been in and should have been playing at, and can sort of adjust what I'm doing to do that. But I can tell personally the difference in it and how sort of I feel at the end of the game compared to how I used to feel. I started getting to the point at the end of last season that I was training here before going to training at hockey, because I felt like I had enough sort of ability to do so, whereas previously I wouldn't have ever done twice in a day. And through summer league I did Tuesday mornings and then did Tuesday evenings playing hockey, and that would have never happened previously, but I could quite happily do a double now without even thinking about it.
Oh, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, because obviously we often say, you know, CrossFit is almost a bonus, right? So you're doing CrossFit because it's helping you with your strength, helping with your cardiovascular endurance. And we often say there's like that little pyramid, isn't there? You know, we start at the bottom. Nutrition's obviously the major one. You know, you get your weightlifting, gymnastics, and then you monostructural. Then you get your weightlifting, gymnastics, and your other sports. And other sports, I think, is possibly the greatest one. You know, lots of people come here for fitness, and CrossFit is everything that they do. But actually, I like to kind of talk to those, especially those that do stuff outside and want to know how that. And then we'll speak to other members as well who do other sports and stuff like that. So now I know that hockey is not the only thing that you used to do, because I know your mum and dad from many years ago when I was in my youth, and we're both heavily involved in jujitsu. Now, I also know that you were heavily involved in jiu-jitsu. Now, do you see any similarities, let's say, between CrossFit and jiu-jitsu?
So I was very much, again, for quite a young age, I was sort of 3 to 13 that I did it. When I got to high school, I stopped. I think in terms of the fitness, for me, I was very much not in that fitness side of it. When I sort of finished, it was very much sort of like the learning of all the moves and everything still. But I'd say the mentality of it, yes, in that sort of like the richest form in terms of that sort of mental toughness. And again, that's more sort of from like my mum and my dad more than that is sort of myself, from seeing what they did and seeing what they went through and how they trained. And a lot of that comes from like seeing what my mum did to get her black belt and knowing how mentally tough she was throughout that whole process. I think that massively transfers over to actually say, you know what, here's this really tough workout. It's that sort of thing of actually going, right, mentally compartmentalize, like what I'm actually going to do, how is this going to work? I would like to think that I don't look at something and panic. I'd actually look at it and go, right, let's just work through this bit by bit and go through it. And I think that's a big part of it, is actually just knowing when to stop and start and how to go. And I think that definitely comes from that sort of like mental side of it rather than the sort of physical.
100%. I mean, I can honestly say from my point of view, I don't think I'd have gone into CrossFit if I hadn't have done that short period of time, jiu-jitsu wise. Because I was very, from a personal side of things, I didn't have a lot of mental strength at that particular point in my life. And I was encouraged by a friend, come with me to jiu-jitsu, you know, they're all really friendly, and they were really friendly, but my God, beat the shit out of me twice a week, like turn up for work with bruises on me, and my bosses would go, have you been fighting? It's like, well, technically yes, but I do pay them a monthly fee, and yes, I'm really bad at it, and I spend most of my time getting my ass handed to me. So I have a huge amount of respect for both your mum and dad because of they gave me almost my starter into, you know, a level of mental toughness that allowed me to go, if I've got problems.
Yeah.
You know, there is a way of releasing that almost.
Yeah, definitely.
And I find that there's quite a correlation between that and CrossFit. You know, there's not obviously the closeness. There's not the unconsciousness, which happens every now and again. You know, there's all those skills that you build on, right? And they give you confidence.
Yeah, 100%.
And I like to think that I bring something, or we bring something as coaches, and bring, and as an affiliate, we bring something to that mental fortitude. You know, physical side of things aside, because not always our physical side of things shouldn't be the focus. It would be, can we just keep pushing through, even though it's really hard? We should keep pushing.
Yeah.
And I think you are an excellent example of that. From seeing you in workouts, there are some times where I've seen you look at me and you give me the side eye, and you look at me going, I hate you, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really a wonderful quality, and I would say that's obviously part of who you are and how you've been brought up, and I think that that's an amazing attribute. So I wanted to congratulate you on that, because you aren't exactly old, are you? So if you don't mind me saying, Meg, how old are you?
25.
25. Yeah. So you are, I suppose, young to some, and anyone probably under 14 would see you as an old person.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So closeness-wise, you are probably one of our closest members. You literally live around a corner.
Yeah.
You are on one of our, I won't say which distance you're on, but you literally live on one of our distances for our runs and stuff like that. How has the locality of CrossFit Silverbeard worked out for you?
So easy. It's sort of, again, it makes me accountable. It's not sort of a case of I've got to travel, I've got to get there. It's a case of actually if I'm sort of thinking, oh, it's a hard workout, maybe I don't want to do it. It's like, oh, it's just around the corner. What are you saying? Like, get out there, go do it. And I think that's massively helped me as someone who does have that sort of look of like, once I'm here, I'm fine, but getting here used to be an issue, and that sort of thing of actually going, do I go? Do I not go? Do I feel up to it today? It's actually like, it's a 2-minute like go.
Yeah. Almost close enough for those that are going to hold you accountable for not turning up, to
come
walk
knock on
to your
the door,
house and go, excuse me.
You're in the class.
There's still 10 minutes and you come.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about that accountability, and we're talking about it being a really good thing for you to kind of latch onto.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a period of time, and we've spoken about this before, and we're going to talk about sort of that COVID period where we were stuck. I know it was a really tough period of time for you.
Yeah.
And we won't sort of, we will go into it. And I want you to kind of just explain how nice it was to come out of it.
Yeah.
And how you feel now. So what did that kind of lockdown part of that do for you?
So I was in a GP practice at the time. So it was very much lockdown started straight away. So we didn't have anything that disappeared, anything that stopped. We went straight into lockdown. I was living at home at the time. I stopped seeing my partner for sort of the best part of 3 months because that was at the height of lockdown. So we weren't living together. We weren't in a bubble. Wow. So we just didn't see each other at all. I was quite lucky that we did have a home gym, so I could still do things if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But doing that alone by myself, or sort of at the times that I was coming back from work, wasn't necessarily my sort of what I thought was a priority. So I think I massively struggled with that stress side of it because of the job that I had. It meant that I was majorly involved in a lot of the things within it. So I just sort of went into shutdown for the start of it almost. And it wasn't probably until sort of a couple of months into the actual initial lockdown stage that I've sort of realised I still needed to do that activity, still needed to move, whether it was just a walk or whatever. I just needed to move because I'd stopped playing sports, I'd stopped doing everything, and for someone who had done sports for most of their life, I was going basically crazy. So you're
saying that basically the mental side of things was so much more important.
Oh, huge, hugely so. It was more of a sort of case of, it's like if I came home after a day at the work, I could then go in the gym and just forget about that. And through those sort of stressful times, that was quite a big thing to actually go, I need to switch off. I can't carry on thinking about it. It's not going to change now at 5-6 o'clock at night. I need to just go. I need to get out. I need to do something. So that was, and all of us were together, which was quite lucky. We were a family of 5, so it wasn't like you didn't have someone to speak to. So it was quite nice in that sense. But yeah, it was definitely difficult to not have those things that we'd normally do, like hockey or like any sort of going into a gym sort of thing.
So And I know that we've had conversations and we talk about things, and I think for anyone watching this as well, I think it's an important thing. We covered it a little bit with Rob, we covered it a little bit with Katie as well. And I wanted to speak to you because we've spoken before about body image. Mm-hmm. I think it's a super important thing because your level of fitness at the current moment is high. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd be pretty much happy to set you up against pretty much any other gym goer in any other gym and go, right, come on, you take Megan on. And I think often outside of the CrossFit space, that body image is, let's talk about it. Yeah. Body image, right? Tell me your thoughts.
Medically, I'm severely obese.
Right.
Which is insane to me. Don't get me wrong, there's things that everyone wants to change, and I get that massively, but medically, I'm severely obese. I should be on weight drugs, I should be on everything that they should be going, sort of thing, which to me is crazy. Don't get me wrong, like I said, there's things that everyone can do to get fitter and healthier, but medically obese should not be how I look. And I think that massively is so inappropriate and unhealthy for a BMI still being that sort of central point of this is what you are. So like as soon as I step on the scales, that will go red instantly. Like that will go, you're unhealthy, you're going to die, you're not able to do any of this sort of thing. Whereas actually, I'm probably the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the fittest I've ever been. I haven't dropped a single kilogram since starting working out here, but I look completely different. I think that's
a really important thing. Because often fitness is measured in our weight. People talk about it all the time. They come in and they go, what are you doing? Well, I want to lose a few pounds. And it's our job, sometimes really hard, to say, look, you're not going to lose weight doing this. You know, actually, you're probably going to put on a few pounds. Yeah. However, your body shape will change massively. Yeah. And I know that your shape has changed from when I first met you to where you are now. And you're very much prouder of your body, and I think that that's an amazing thing. I think that so many people, and like I say, outside of the CrossFit space, I find that, and I'm not going to badmouth fitness as a whole, because I believe that all gyms and all fitness places have their place, because CrossFit isn't for everybody. It's not. I openly admit that. Some people come in and go, one, it's too expensive, or two, it's this, or it's that, and no, I don't want to see guys with their t-shirts off all the time. It's like that. Have you ever been inside an industrial building when it's like 25 degrees? You ain't got a choice. There is that. And I think as well, that's probably a really good point of that body image. Katie touched on it when we went in her podcast. I was talking about the lack of mirrors. And in here I find that there's no judgment. No. You could come in here and it wouldn't matter what size you were.
No, not
as long as you put the effort in. Because you could come in having a gorgeous body and being all shapely, but if you gave up halfway through the workout, there would be a certain amount of, well, why did you stop? There's that level of mental fortitude, right?
And I think so, and I think it also comes from that sort of thing of actually, it's like you said, like people taking their tops off and stuff. It's like actually everyone is too busy dying in the corner by themselves doing their workout to care what on earth you're doing. Absolutely. No one's looking at who's next to them. They're concentrating on the reps that they need to complete. And I think that's so important. There's, like you said, there's no one to look at you and go, oh, well, you could do with using a few pounds, or oh, you shouldn't be wearing that, you should be wearing this.
Could you ever imagine that being said?
Honestly, someone would go crazy. Like, how is that? Like, it's so far down on that list of things that people care about. Someone is more impressed by you being able to do your first ever rep of something than they are by what you're wearing. And I think that's massive. Like, people celebrate you being able to do your first skip and pull up more than they'd celebrate you losing a kilogram. Like, that's just how it is.
100%. Even if someone said to me, my scales haven't moved, but I got my first pull up today, they'd be like, you ring that bell. And we've had so we've not spoken about the bell before. I don't know that you've rung the bell a couple of times. So the bell behind us, for those that are watching and listening, we have a PB bell, and that is if you gain a new skill. And I remember when you got your first handstand push-up. Okay. Now, lots of people, and I'm not going to lie, people will look at you, Meg, and go, how does she do that? Because they will, because they look at body image.
100%.
And they'll go, right, okay, and you could do a handstand, And you can literally do a handstand push-up, which I can guarantee you lots of other people cannot even think about doing. They're like, handstands, haven't done one of those since I was 8. Yeah, but we can sit and watch you nowadays crank those out in sets and put them in a workout, and absolutely 100%. But I remember when you got your first one, and the proudness that you had over there ringing that bell was absolutely amazing. And I think that kind of rolls down into pretty much everything that we do. And 100%. I know that we, like you said, celebration of really good achievements, even just those little ones. Getting a deadlift right, lifting your own body weight, doing a handstand, those things. And I think sometimes people look at a person and say they can't do that. And that's why I say a measure of fitness should not be looked at by how much you weigh, what you look like, your body shape. A lot of it comes down to attitude. And for a young person, without sounding condescending in any way whatsoever, for a young person, you have an amazing outlook on that. And it's really refreshing, because it's, I think, at the moment, in all around the world and all around in the fitness space, lots of young people in your generation, we laugh about this a lot, because obviously when songs come on and we're like, wow, do you remember this? And you're like, no, I have no idea who this is. Or we talk about films and you're like, I've not seen that film. And we're like, that's because you were still a baby when that was on. So we do that a lot. But I think it's a really important thing that within the CrossFit space, within the fitness space, CrossFit is almost a bridge between generations. Because we have, I think our oldest member is 66. Our youngest member is 14 within the adult part of that. Although we have the teens and obviously the kids as well. That's such a huge, broad coverage. And everybody can do different things and different skills. And I think it's such a great thing. And I think that only wish that I could get the more people of your generation to kind of see the benefits of this. But hopefully this will help that.
Fingers crossed.
Me speaking to you and talking about all those sorts of different things from there. So what else to talk about? I think as well, what I wanted to say to you is you do this, but your other half doesn't.
No.
So, and I know that he's a gym goer. He loves his lifting. And we've joked a couple of times about getting him in. What do you think, from a younger person's perspective, as to why CrossFit can be maybe off-putting, or maybe to some guys especially, why lifting is a thing, just lifting, doing the old bro lifts and stuff like that, as we call it, are not a level of fitness? What do you think of that? Because you have obviously your partner's perspective.
I think it's a bit of a mix. I think for me, the idea with training with multiple people in a class is really refreshing, because then everyone's going through the same thing. Whereas I think for a lot of people my age, actually just going by yourself, whatever time you want, whenever you want, and just doing whatever workout you do is actually what they want to do. So he is sports background, has always been sports, and sort of knows stuff, just done his PT and stuff. So he's fine by himself as far as he's concerned. He doesn't need a coach or anything like that, which I completely understand, because he coached me for many years. So actually for him, he's fully sort of keyed up into what he needs to do for where he wants to go for his goals. I think for most people, I think it is a case of actually walking into the place and going, you know what, I might have to admit that I'm not what I think I am. I might need to leave my ego at the door, which I think is quite a big thing with not only just CrossFit, but any sort of class like that. I think that sort of thing of going, actually, I might turn up and do something, one, that I hate, or two, that I'm not going to be very good at, is something that not many people want to do. I think because a lot of people see it as their release. If they turn around and go, right, today you're doing burpees and that's all you're doing, they're going to lose their marbles that they're spending an hour doing burpees because they hate that. Whereas actually the fitness impact on that is completely different. So I think that side of going, you know what, you might really enjoy to do bicep curls, but this is going to help your fitness, so just come and do burpees, is that real sort of barrier of where do you want to go and where do you want to be, but also what enjoyment do you want to get out of it. So whereas for all of us, where we joke about it constantly, that might be the most horrific workout you ever do, but you're still going to have a good time doing it. You have to sort of be that sort of sucker for that pain, whereas I don't think many people are. I think that's sort of a very finite number of people who are actually like, you know what, I can do it. But actually when they come and do it, the amount of people you speak to and go, oh, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it, and they do their first class, like, right, I'll do my membership tonight. I think that's the massive thing, is actually working out if you are going to enjoy it, but so many more people enjoy it than they think they will. And I think that's a big part of it, is that they don't understand
I would 100% agree. 100% agree. You have people, we've had people, like you say, they've come in, they've done their first workout, and they're like, where do we sign up?
Yeah.
This is like the greatest thing that why have I not been doing this my whole life?
They just have to do that first one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we changed our approach to our free trials. So often free trials are only one day or one class, and you have to kind of make a decision. We took the executive decision of making that 3 classes over a 7-day period. And sometimes people after the first one are like, we want to sign up. It's like, do the next 2.
Yeah.
You know, just proper try it. Because I think sometimes as well, because it's so varied, almost it's a double-edged sword. Because you could turn up on your free trial and that one day be
Karen.
a day. Exactly, Karen's 150 wall balls for time, right? And you can imagine it, kind of. And I have actually I've had people come in on a free trial, and they're doing that movement, and you've had to go through exactly what that movement is, and they go, right, how many of these are we doing?
Yeah.
And we're like, 150. They're like, and how long am I meant to do that? And I'm like, well, it's probably about an 18-minute time cap. You've and they kind of go, oh. This is not easy. You know, this is the point. And I think as well, then you might, and I think that's why we changed it.
Yeah.
We decided that you only get a glimpse, and I think a glimpse sometimes is not enough. You need to be staring into it and almost kind of
just
go.
lets you see everything, doesn't it? It's not then you're just getting one weightlifting class or you're just getting a particular movement. You're seeing all of it put together, and I think that's really important as well, to know that there's not just one, that you might really enjoy one, but actually there might be a day that you don't enjoy, but that's actually going to really help you in that other format. I think for me that's really big, is to know where they link up and where the movements link up, of actually if there's a particular movement that I hate, actually that'll help me with a movement that I love.
So transferability. Yeah. So transferring one skill to another, like an overhead press. Yeah. Because let's face it, overhead press, if you turn it over, is a handstand push-up, right? So we talk about thrusters and using that as a barbell. Yeah. That is essentially a handstand push-up, just inverted. Yeah. There's all those sorts of things, and like you say, there's so many things that fold over onto that. That transferability is such a massive thing. I think you touched on a wonderful point there. So running, let's talk about running. God, yeah. So I know that's your favourite.
Horrific.
Like you said, when it comes to other sports, being able to notice the difference within a short period of time, that's got to be an important aspect of what you do, right? Other sports. Yeah. Because I think as well, we're quite keen on people challenging themselves and taking on different challenges. Is there anything that you would think about in the future, taking on as a challenge, as a personal challenge outside of CrossFit, that you would feel that it would help you? So by doing CrossFit, what do you think, is there a challenge-wise that you think that you would take on? Yeah, so mine's always running. Okay. I avoid running at all costs. I hate it. I've got dodgy knees, I've got all sorts, but that is purely because I don't do it. And I've had sort of so long with not doing it, I think I'm so sort of, whenever I get into the starting running, I can always start it, do it for a few weeks, absolutely hate it, stop. And I think that's a massive thing of actually, I just need to push past that and look at what I can do to make that better, because I know that's a massive downfall with me. I know if there's a running workout, there's something with running in the workout, I need to go absolutely insane on the rest of it, because I know my time on my running is going to be slow. So I think that's a big thing for me. So I think eventually I want to look at starting up, sort of like looking at like 10Ks and stuff, and looking at what I can do locally. But just achieving sort of running goals for me, starting running regularly, because like I know it's my biggest weakness. And I know it holds me back from certain workouts as well, not just sort of mentally, but also that ability to actually just make the time that I should make, because I'm slow on that running side of it. Yeah. I think that's also a good point. You know, you want to be able to do those things. You want to be able to look at something and go, I could do that. We choose to do that. Yeah. Right? We can look at anything. We can look, and I know that some of our members currently got some places in the London Marathon, and have come to me and gone, and I'm like, well, you signed up for it, and don't complain that you got a ballot place when you've got for it. And I think actually a lot of them are surprised at actually how good they've become at what is a simple move. Technically running is like this, after walking it's the next one on, isn't it? And I think as well, as a whole, CrossFit often says we all hate running.
Yeah.
But I think that's broader than that. I think some people will run because they need something for their head. Most people run for their headspace.
Yeah.
And I could put that out there. I think that's true.
Yeah, 100%.
Because no one goes, I'm just going to go and run 10K because I feel like it.
Yeah.
Most of us need a push.
Yeah.
We're either going to do it for charity, or we're going to do it because there's a medal at the end of it, or our friends are running it and we want to beat them.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of thing. We all need that bit. And I would say that anybody leaves their house and just wants to go for a run is doing that to clear their headspace. So I can see a very easy causality between CrossFit and running, very, very simply, because it's that headspace where you want to go, right, I want to go into this and I want to do this and I want to do that.
Just forget about everything else.
Absolutely, 100%. So I think for you, goals-wise, that's obviously running is going to be that major thing. So let's talk about weightlifting.
Yeah.
Because I know that's your jam, right?
My favourite.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it about, give me your honest opinion, what is it about the weightlifting side of things? So it's specifically Olympic lifting, because when we say weightlifting, we mean external weight outside of our body. So had you used a barbell before you came here? Yeah. And how have you advanced that since you've been here?
So was very much sort of simple, like gym goer, lifting in terms of not a lot of cardio but a lot of lifting, so that sort of thing was quite normal to me. I wouldn't necessarily it was Olympic lifting, very much simple, sort of like deadlifts, squats was sort of my normal. I was definitely stuck at a lot of weights that actually coming here has completely changed. So in a normal gym I was stuck in quite a lot of like ruts, and I think that's massively changed with like Olympic lifting. And I also think that sort of satisfaction of actually being able to do like the technical Olympic lifts as well is a really big thing. You know if you hit it right and how it feels. But yeah, I'd say that's massively changed sort of what I can lift now from where I started. There's been huge changes across that, sort of in multiple different months as well. But it's that satisfaction for me of that sort of, it's like, you know what, I did rip that off the floor. Like I had that lift looked good, that felt good. And that's really satisfying. And I know it's something that I'm quite good at, so I'm happy to do it like that sort of. I don't even think about lifting up a bar that's heavy, whereas I think about going on a run. Like that's sort of something that is my comfort zone. I know if there's quick bar movements I can do it, so it's that sort of.
So basically what you're saying is if we make workouts that have got heavy barbell and running in it, you're going to turn up to them because it ticks both
just
boxes,
the heavy
right?
barbell,
just the heavy barbell, yeah, exactly, yeah, so and a little bit of running. So that's good, because we like to think, and I suppose really we should touch on programming with regards to that, you know, the variation within it, the importance of variation. Because you said, you know, you felt like you got stuck in a rut. How long do you think that, because you said before you would do fitness for a couple of months and then, you know, you would come off of it because you feel like you were in a rut or you couldn't. So does the variation that we do here, is that an important factor within that? Big time. To know that I'm not going to come in 2 days in a row and it's going to be the same programming, to know that I'm not going to do the same things, and actually that a lot of things link into each other, like you said, about transferability, that actually it all changes. I mean, last month I think we worked out that I had like 16 PBs across my lifts because I'd done the accessory work the month before to build that up, to help with that. I'd done the fitness talks, I'd looked into all of these things, and I changed what I was doing to eat properly, that actually it meant that last month was sort of the best CrossFit month I technically had. And that wasn't necessarily the month that I'd done the most training in, it was just that actually everything started to line up and click into the right place. So I think that was purely because actually when I was able to rest on the certain days that I needed to, whether that was a case of I came in and did the workout but I did the scaled version, it meant I was still moving, or whether it was actually a case of we'd hit legs one day, so actually the next day we'd done a bit of legs to get rid of lactic acid, and then the rest of it had actually been upper body to really help with that. I think that's massively sort of, it makes me not think, oh God, I've got 2 leg days in a row, what am I going to do, how am I going to move? Yeah, and I suppose for me as a coach, that side of things, when you're looking at what I would call regular gym goers, I think I'm missing that from a personal perspective. You know, having been in that environment for a really long time, and for years used to program that. You know, chest days on Mondays, that's it. Back and biceps, and then you kind of go legs on a Thursday because I want to be able to walk before Sunday, and all those sorts of things. Where I suppose here, you know, we do work heavy, look on strength and all those different side of aspects to that. And I know that's an important part of what we do. So let's touch on nutrition ever so slightly. How have you found, because you've come to our nutrition seminars that we've done, which basically just talks about what we believe is a better way of eating. How has that helped with that? Well, not in regards of like directly of what you're eating, but how have you found the advice? What would you say about the advice?
Information's power, and I think that's massively actually really eye-opening to a lot of people. And I think it's stuff that you hear anyway coming through school, and I did a lot of sort of sports in school, so you hear it, but you never hear of how to put it into real life and actually what it means by things being high protein and by having protein within your diet. I think that's actually, knowing how to do that is completely different than someone just going, right, you need to have this. And I think doing it as a group as well as a community massively helps, because actually if you're starting a different diet or if you're doing something different within your diet, you can just turn and ask someone else how they've been doing it or what they're doing, how they're hitting their goals, what they're hitting, and actually just sort of sharing those sort of things of going, oh, you know what, I had this really great meal, like have a look at this. I think doing it together makes it so actually everyone's going through that same thing of, especially if it's a new type of thing that you've never done before, that people can go, you know what, I am going to do this, I am going to give it a go, because I know that 3 other people in the same class that I'm in this hour are doing the exact same thing. How are you feeling yourself? How are you making these workout work for you?
I feel tired. What have you eaten? You know, did you eat this and have you eaten that?
Hugely.
Yeah, good. That's, I mean, like I say, we try to do as much as we possibly can without sort of feeling like we're saying don't eat this, don't eat that. You know, there's always that little bit of advice that kind of goes in that direction. And like we say, you know, there's nothing wrong with having an ice cream every now and again, because let's face it, going to the seaside without an ice cream, what's the point, right? You might as well not go and see the scenery and get the fresh air. Exactly, 100%. So we're coming to the end of our time. I want to thank you so much for coming in. I hope you were really happy. I think we've covered loads of stuff, and that's great. Thanks very much, Megan.
Thank you.
I'll see you in class tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
100%. Cheers, thanks.